One of the arguments around this, and this is kind of the last question, I guess, is one of the arguments is the compassion argument. This is what we're always pushed to. If you care for people, then you will create space where they can be who they are, and this is who they are. And it's the compassion argument. Chad mentioned Walt Heyer, who we had on our show, many episodes ago. Walt is a biological male who transitioned to female in his 40s. I don't know what all that looks like. Later on, transitioned back, and now in his 80s continues to work with folks who have transitioned and are trying to go back and dealing with all of that. He made the statement on our show that 100%, and I clarified with him, 100%, 100% of the people that he works with who have transitioned and are now experiencing that regret and trying to go back have endured deep trauma in their lives. So this transition process is a response to trauma. And so as we normalize this behavior, we're ignoring the trauma. So we're ignoring the real problem. And when I think about that, I think the compassion argument is why we're being told we need to accept this, but really compassionate people would confront the truth and try to help people who are actually hurting. So I don't know if you can definitively answer this question, but as a strategy, how can we objectively speak truth in a compassionate way that tries to help people who sincerely are hurting? And many people are hurting and they're getting swept up in this, as you mentioned earlier. How do we speak the truth in a way that's compassionate and helpful?
Yeah, I think that is a really, really important question, because I think as a conservative, oftentimes we get written off as being, right. You just are not compassionate, you don't have a heart, you don't understand, and that is not actually obviously the case. I mean, and let me just give you just a really quick example of, I've had this conversation multiple times this week when we're talking about kids at the border. We're having the same conversation now about kids being put in detainment facilities, and we heard the White House press secretary talk about, it's the humane and moral thing to do, and, we have this conversation and go back and forth, and I say, well, hold on a second, wait. I think the humane and moral thing to do is to tell these people to stop sending their children because they know that the walk will be too unsafe. Right. Yes. So I think that you can really apply that to what we're talking about here as well. I think the compassionate thing to be teaching our children is that the walk is you don't want to do this, right? And instead of pushing the kids to it, you want to be teaching them scientific facts. You want to be teaching them biology. You want to be teaching them these things and kind of guiding them, which, by the way, is the entire point of being parents and being responsible of a child until they're 18, is to guide them and to teach them these absolute truths that we have. And so I do think that it is important that we do speak truths. I think that it is important that if there is an adult who wants to be, called something, a different name, I don't see a reason to disrespect them just for the sake of disrespecting them. Right. But I think that we can still speak truth and not be rude or disrespectful just for the sake of being disrespectful. But I will say this, I do think that the best strategy that we can have to combat what is going on, because we are a compassionate people, is to really, really target the medical community, because that is where the most harm is being done. There is a case in Dallas, actually, of two twins, and one of the twins, the mother, who is a pediatrician in the Dallas area, the mother says the boy is transgender and wants to live as a trans girl. The father says that he does not. And the father is on the verge of losing his parental rights, going through this legal battle with multiple appeals in this. And so because we have the mental health community, who there are way too many of them who are now on the side of someone says that they're a girl, we should just, let them tell that's their truth. And I think that the longer that the mental health community continues to put these kids, at a detrimental place where they don't understand truth and they have these professionals who are really encouraging the behavior, I just don't see the problem really being chopped off at the root. So I think that the root cause is we have to find a way to get to our mental health professionals to let them, know that this is hurting kids. What they're doing right now and what they're diagnosing and what they're pushing kids towards is hurting them. And unfortunately, I think that until we really, really get the mental health community and the medical community to come back from this part of the pendulum that they're on, I think that we're going to see a lot more damage done until we can figure out how to do that.